Good afternoon, welcome back to another Coasty Explorers, and we are out and about on Ma Wan, which is also known as Park Island. Here, just a little boat trip away from central Hong Kong. Today we're going to have a tour of the island, now a real tourist trap because it's been revolutionised and revitalised in recent years into this wonderful, beautiful, vibrant, colourful village. But we're going to look at the Neolithic era history right up to the modern day. So come join me as we explore Ma Wan Island. Now, not many cars allowed on Ma Wan Island. I guess if you live in one of these older houses you can, but look at this. Who'd have thought? 1, 2 Land Rover Discoveries right next to each other. So people have got good taste over here in Ma Wan. Now, Ma Wan is made up of igneous rock. It's mostly granite like the rest of Hong Kong and has been an integral part of the Maritime Silk Road since time immemorial, connecting the Pearl River Delta, where Canton and Guangzhou are, with the rest of Southeast Asia. Now, as early as the late Neolithic period, people have been living here on the island. Only a few, but there have been things like pottery and jewellery found dating back to about 2500 BC. People back then would have been fishermen, and for thousands of years it would have been fishing as the main source of income for people in this part of the world. Now, back 4,000 years ago, this would have been the home of the Man or the Yu people. They've been here for thousands of years, and their empire would have stretched from Fujian in the east all the way through here and down into southern Vietnam. It wasn't until 221 BC, when the Han Dynasty came down and invaded this part of Asia, that this became part of the Chinese Empire. And it's here at the Cultural Heritage Centre of Ma Wan that you can find out more about the indigenous ancient history here of the island. Now, just at the back of the Heritage Centre we have this wonderful 1200-year-old lime kiln. This was actually moved here from about 200 metres away. They found it and they brought it here to the Heritage Centre. Now, lime kilns were prevalent right across Hong Kong, the islands and the coastal areas of southern China. And they were used, they would burn shells, oyster shells and coral, things like that, to create the lime powder, to then use that to repair boats, or also in the building and construction of actual buildings itself. So if you are walking about Hong Kong, see if you can check out the lime kilns. There's one on Peng Chau too. Now, in addition to the lime kilns, you've also got a brick kiln here, and these were prevalent across Hong Kong as well, producing the famous grey Chinese brick. That would have been Qing Dynasty, probably 100 to 200 years old, this brick kiln. But there's also more modern ones built during the British era. If you've ever been to Ocean Park on the south side, that used to be called Brick Hill, and that's where the red brick factory was. So many of the European style buildings here in Hong Kong that have got the red brick came from Brick Hill down on the south side of Hong Kong Island. But yeah, very prevalent all across Hong Kong as well. And this building here, I see this every day on the way to my work. This is the Solar Town. This was built, I think, in the 1960s to observe the stars and the space from out here in the middle of nowhere. But now, of course, Hong Kong being such a big city, I'm sure the light pollution doesn't make it the best place to be. But there you go. If you know any more about this tower, put it in the comments below. This is surely one of the oldest buildings here on Ma Wan, probably 20s, 30s, 40s maybe, but still looks in the original shape as it was when it was built many years ago. What's the story in Balamory? Wouldn't you like to know? Well, here is Hong Kong's Balamory, Tobermory on the Island of Mull. This is the centre of Ma Wan, now very much a tourist attraction. The amazingly brightly vibrant coloured buildings are all here amongst the old buildings. You can do lots of different crafts, painting, ceramics. If you are a cat or dog lover, there are cat and dog cafes, places to walk your dogs. It is a great place to come if you're in Hong Kong. Don't forget to catch the ferry from Central to Park Island and spend a day walking around this wonderful old colourful fishing village. There have been pockets of history when people have migrated to Ma Wan Island. One of them would have been in the late 1680s with the coastal evacuation edict, which meant that people living on the coast had to move away from the coast inland about 20 miles, and then years later they returned, and some would have come back at that time. If you want to find out more about the coastal evacuation edict, check out my video on the Nantao ancient city in Shenzhen. Another time when many people came in was during the 1700s, when the yellow croaker fish was found in the local water here. Now that was a saltwater fish, and suddenly in the 1700s people from inner China would prefer salt fish rather than fresh fish. So many people moved to Ma Wan apparently to fish the yellow croaker, and they'd send it up to the interior of China. There you go. Back in the olden days, many of the villages here people would have lived on stilt houses or boat huts. You can't see them here today in Ma Wan, but if you go to the village of Tai O on the west side of Lantau, you'll see some great examples of how those houses would have looked here in Ma Wan. It was the clans who ran these parts of the new territories, and it was the Sang clan who was the subsoil landlord for Ma Wan for many, many decades. Now, he would have collected fees from people wanting to berth their ships here in the anchorage, but also if people wanted to use the freshwater well here, or for breaming, and that's when ships would run up and tip over and they would clean the bottom of their hulls from barnacles and other things that were stuck to the bottom, slowing them down. So subsoil landlords were found all over, and it was the Sang clan here who used to run it on Ma Wan. So Park Island or Ma Wan means horse bay, and some say the bay should be anchorage really, and that's because behind me is Kap Shu Mun, a channel, and this channel meaning water drawing gate in Chinese, that's because the tides and currents are really strong here, so ships coming through would need an anchorage here. So probably the word anchorage, horse anchorage, is the best to use for Ma Wan. And right here on the western edge we have the Ma Wan Rural Committee, and these were set up all over Hong Kong, the new territories, as sort of a go-between between the local people and the government, so that they could have their say in how the local land was governed, and if you had any disputes you could bring it here to the rural committees. This one was built in 1897, but I've just seen something very historical right next to it. These were set up in 1868, and that's why the island is called Ma Wan 1868 today, this little development for tourists. And this was the China Customs Station. There were 3 here in Hong Kong, this one on Chung Chau, and one at the entrance to Junk Bay, sort of on the eastern side originally. And they were here to stop all the ships heading up to Canton, to check them for contraband such as opium, and to collect any taxes that were necessary. If you want to find out more about the China Customs, check out my Guangzhou video on the history of Shamian Island up there. And actually, it's been cut off. Now you can't walk around it because of subsidence, but if you walk along the shore here, you can just see in there the original stone tablet and where it would have stood. So you can see this, the China Customs Station would have been exactly here, and there's a few little plinth looking things around to show that this was the exact spot where the China Customs used to stop all those ships going up to Canton. There's a very historic stone over here carved into the side of the tree roots here. This is for the Emperor Xiaobing, the last emperor of the Southern Song Dynasty. He passed away in these parts, thought to be Mu War, just round the headland on South Lantau. He was being chased by Kublai Khan and the start of the Yuan dynasty, and they defeated him, and the Song dynasty became the Yuan dynasty. And this here is to commemorate him. Now, regular viewers of the channel will know that piracy was huge here in Hong Kong. It ravaged this part of the China coastline for hundreds and hundreds of years, and in 1856 there was a big pirate battle against the British just off the coast here, in between here and Qingyi. I think 3 vessels were secured back from the pirates that had been taken, and 5 pirate ships were sunk. In fact, the legendary Chung Po Tsai, the pirate who was the main villain in these neck of the woods, he actually was based here in Ma Wan, it is thought, and Tung Chung, and the islands all around Hong Kong. So check out Chung Po Tsai, and we will be doing a whole video on piracy around Hong Kong soon. Now, one thing vital to the communities here in Hong Kong is that of the Tin Hau Temple. They would worship the goddess Tin Hau here, and she was the goddess of the ocean and the fishermen, to make sure that the fishermen, when they went out every day, had safe passage. You find them all around Hong Kong, and due to land reclamation now, you can find them a few kilometres inland, but they were once all pretty much overlooking the ocean. Now, you geographers out there, you can tell me, is an island still an island when it's got a bridge connecting it? I thought there was something with the Isle of Skye in Scotland the other year saying it wasn't an island. Well, this bridge was completed in May 1997. That's just a couple of months before the handover back from Britain to China. And that's because on the north side of Lantau Island, just there, is the new Hong Kong International Airport. They've just actually built the 3rd runway, so it now connects to Ma Wan, and then there's another bridge over to Qingyi. So 2 big bridges. So if you do want to come to Ma Wan, you can get a bus or a taxi here via that bridge. Up until the 1930s, people would come from all around Hong Kong to get firewood and shrimp paste from this island. But actually, during the 1930s, that sort of ceased because other forms of fuel became popular, and shrimp paste very popular on the west side of Lantau in Tai O village as well. So I knew there was an ancient anchorage here, and I didn't think that it was the bay here. It's actually here. We can see a couple of seawalls have been built, and this would have been the safe anchorage for those boats going back thousands of years here in Ma Wan. Actually, just high up on the cliff, we've got the other Tin Hau Temple. This is the newer one, I think. The door guards there, the classic door guards, and the wonderful view actually out over the channel. Now you can see this separates North Lantau and sort of Castle Peak and the sort of northern New Territories. Now this channel is still being used by tankers today. They don't really go up the Kap Shu Mun channel because of the tightness of the channel, so they'll come round the Ma Wan tunnel and then through this channel and head up to mainland China that way. Now that's because it cuts off a significant difference than if you go all the way around South Lantau and up to Canton. Now during World War II, that channel was actually mined, so you had to be very careful from 1939 onwards. The British were worried about the Germans coming into Hong Kong here. And the Kap Shu Mun channel wasn't actually mined itself, but there was a cut-off after dark that you weren't allowed to use it because they were very worried about the Germans. But in fact, it was the Japanese that invaded on the 8th of December 1941 from the north when they came over the border and spread all the way down through this part of Hong Kong. There we go. Right, let's head back to the start and take a look at the beach and a very interesting tourist attraction. Let's go. Stop the press. I've just noticed something. Look, those boats that I was talking about that are in Tai O, the stilt houses and the boat rafts. Well, we have some boat rafts here. Look, we can see they're flotation boats that are used for fishing. If you know what type of fishing that's used for, do let me know in the comments below. But we can see different sort of properties, houses. Some of them looks as though people actually still live on them today. So there we go. We're at the northeast corner of the island. Come check it out. Now, Ma Wan is highly unrecognizable from what it used to be. In 2000, it still only had a population of 800, but now just check out the vista here. We have 15,000 plus people now living here, with direct links to Qingyi, to Tsunwan, to Central, for business people to live out here and use these wonderful facilities like the beach. Now, the last greatest historical fact is that behind me, this is where Noah's Ark washed ashore. Can you see it in the background? Yes. No, I'm only joking. This is the Noah's Ark Resort and Hotel. And it was built, I think, back in the 2000s as a bit of a Christian theme park, and now it's changed. But you can still see the animals coming in 2 by 2. Thanks for joining me today on this historical walk around Ma Wan Island. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.